I'd like to apologize for not talking much. I assure you there's a lot more to my character than I let on. I realize that whenever people talk to me, it's basically like talking to a lump of flesh that just sits there. But that's usually because it's hard to describe or define in words whatever I want to say. Usually when I have conversations with myself, I kind of just think this stuff in my head without really any words, because of course it's me and I think me. But oh yeah, I've mostly just been, when I said that I was shit, it's so hard to fucking talk. But oh yes, when I said that I was revisiting old things, that's, I'm kind of on a bit of a nostalgia trip, because there isn't anything new that's interesting, really. I kind of just miss the old stuff that I found interesting before. But I remember a long time ago, or was it? I don't know. I mean, it kind of feels like everything is just in the present. Whenever I have certain memories, it doesn't feel like it was long ago. It felt like I was there then and now. But for the longest time, people keep saying that people keep saying that I'm 18. Certainly doesn't feel like it, though, because I still have the same wishes that I did from a long time ago. Wishes to experience something extraordinary. To go on adventures. With powers. Not just any powers. Money is not an actual power. Okay, that's just a piece of paper. You know the shit, but it's just something that people make believe in just as much as actual superpowers, not political superpowers. That's also full of shit, okay? An actual superpower is one that is a part of you as an individual within physiological understanding. And if I am being honest, I've been getting recommended a lot of, I spend most of my time browsing YouTube, and lately I've just been getting a barrage of a bunch of Christian videos, videos around Christianity, but, the way I interpret that is, there's a lot of, it's the Christian God's attempt at trying to capture my soul for it, because I'm just that powerful. Yes, that's how I view that as. Maybe I can actually use this video for the disability thing if I want to. Just kidding. But is that when it comes to spiritualism, I am a no consequences Gnostic. Yes, I know Matthew McKinley is just shaking in his fucking chair right now, having to hear me say that I'm a no consequence is a person, but that's because there shouldn't, is that if you want to see how people actually act in a specific environment, how they would actually act, then there should not be any spiritual consequences, okay? Is that if you actually want to test how people would act in a certain environment, and also because within my own inner knowing, I know that I would not send myself to a place with no memory of who I was before if there were consequences, okay? So because I sent myself to this place with no memory of who I was before, there are no consequences, because I know I wouldn't fucking send myself here if there were consequences. At least I wouldn't send myself here with no memory of who I was before. But of course, Matt will probably think that I'm dumb, and I say, well, Matt, it's like you said about all the other scientists. You can go ahead and have your community's metrics of smarts. Maybe I just prefer to be dumb in my own way. Or smart in my own way, because dumb and smart are subjective. And that's because people only use the labels dumb and smart to place themselves above people while looking down on others. You know, basically, smart and dumb are just labels that, you know, they use to fulfill their egotistical desires. And the same exact thing can be said for mature and immature. You see, maturity does not exist either, because people use the labels mature and immature to make themselves look like they're the ones who are proper and make other people seem improper, you know? And I kind of got this sort of philosophy from, or idea from, when a certain video that said that people within a society that is insane, the one who is viewed as sane will be considered insane to that insane society. And so sanity is subjective, or it could, yes, sanity is subjective. It could mean, insanity could mean losing your mind slowly, you know, from a certain lack of things that I can't describe, because it's multiple factors that would lead to insanity, from a wide variety of emotional and physical circumstances, you know. And I do have something to confess. Just this recently, I kind of felt like I was going crazy because... Never mind. I'm sorry, I can't. Or I can, but... Fine. There was this specific website that I visited, and because is that on my computer, whenever I loaded a new tab on the computer, all of the tabs had the same load time, and so, you know, I kind of felt like, and that was, you know, I felt like that was good, because, you know, is that I have autism, and I do think that when, you know, some things are, you know, in a specific order, you know, it is pretty good. But at the same time, I even had the self-awareness to be like, you know, these exact load times are kind of setting me up to get pissed off when a specific load time is longer than one of them, and that actually did happen, you know? And it's because of that one specific load time that I ended up, is that when the page loaded, you know, everything felt different, but at the same time it wasn't. You know, it was a website with a bunch of videos on it. It wasn't YouTube though, but it was a different website that I frequented. And because the load time was different from all of the other tabs that I opened up, everything just felt off suddenly. It felt off, and it extended to me feeling off about the physical body that I was in, and not for the reasons that you think I felt off, because everything else was feeling off. And so it kind of just dominoed into me absolutely fucking my mind into bits and pieces. But I managed to actually restructure the bits and pieces, and now I'm back to where I was before that all began. And if you're thinking to yourself, was it fun? No. You know, it's kind of the same argument that I would use, you know, when people discuss spiritual journeys, about how, you know, you came to this place to learn about, you know, what it's like to be this, and then after you die, you ascend to a higher level, and you think to yourself, how many fucking spider webs are in this fucking forest? I swear to God, I think, you know, sometimes I think that if the entire world was forest, there would be less, you know, there would be less areas with spider webs. But then I realized that spiders grow out in the forest. And so if the entire world was filled with forest, there'd actually just be more spider webs everywhere. So I'm kind of grateful, but also not really at the same time, about, you know, there being not as many forests in the world, because I love nature and I love, you know, the forests and stuff, but I don't like the fucking spiders. New video. That one actually went a little bit over 5 minutes. But, yeah, recently, you know, I guess if I really want to talk about what I've been doing the past few days that I haven't been seen, I guess I should really just start talking about my thought process. You know, I've been watching this one show that involves a group of people fighting some... I just can't fathom how complicated it is to break out of the shell that I put myself in. Okay, so it's a TV show about, or not a TV show, it never aired on TV, fuck. It was a 3D animated show about these 4 girls that are traveling together on an adventure. You know, they're traveling to fight off against these creatures called the Grimm, and they are, you know, they are dark creatures that have the Grimm are dark creatures that don't have a soul, and they are actually attracted to negative emotions. So just imagine that. If I was in the world of that 3D animated show, I'd just be a nuclear reactor of bad emotions. You know, all the Grimm would just fucking pounce, pull up on me, whatever fucking shit you want to use. But, you know, there's actually this one, and I also like this 3D animated show because, yep, there's one spider web right there. That's not the reason why I like the 3D animated show, but, don't get on my face! Alright, so, the reason why I like the 3D animated show is because... how am I supposed to enjoy any of this when there's just constant spiders trying to rape my face? The reason why I like the 3D animated show is because it has a cast of strong girls in it. It has, strong female leads, and I like that, I actually like strong women. There's another show, there's an anime that has this one strong woman who's also a part wolf. She has wolf ears and a wolf tail, and and I like that, and I like the she's also muscular too. She has some muscles, but she still has a feminine figure. I like that, and I remember watching a YouTube video about men saying that a group of men on Twitter saying that there's this thing called they're called muscle mommies, apparently, and they're just they're muscular women, right? Is that they hit the gym a lot and they work out, but they have like they're not the typical gym girls. They have a muscular physique, but they still have that feminine figure, and there was a group of men saying that it was a psyop to make people gay, and to that, as a straight man that is attracted to muscle mommies, I have to say that it is not gay to like women. I know, how fucking insane is that? Hey, it's not gay to like women. It's actually a very straight thing, as a matter of fact. And here's the problem that men and women have, because there was another clip in the video that about a man saying that it's a lot. It really makes me think that I do live in a clown world, because there was another man that said they would much rather live with a group of guys than live with a single woman, because apparently they'd be able to do things like go to the gym and, watch sports together. And to that, my response is, you could literally do all of those things with a woman as well. But then they'd be masculine. But it doesn't matter. You want to know the real reason why all of these types of men exist, and why women are separated and men are separated from women? It's because the government knows that if a strong man and a strong woman were together, they'd be unstoppable and the government would be shitting their fucking pants off. Why can't we just... Because here's the thing, right? There's always these different types of relationships. You have the feminine woman with the masculine man, the masculine woman with the feminine man. Why can't we have masculine man with masculine woman? Is that, and before you say some dumbass shit like too much masculinity, there's no such thing, okay? You can have a strong man and a strong woman together and have them both be badass together, I mean, just look at Superman and Wonder Woman. They're fucking badass. He-Man and She-Ra. Do I need say more? Because, one of the more popular fantasies in my head is one where I am Superman. I have, the physique of, muscles with all his powers. And although I have a different idea for, and this also has to do with a story that I think about writing. I say think about writing because it's most likely that I'm just going to continue thinking about this in my head and never actually write it, because I'm lazy. But you know, I had this idea where I would make Superman, you know, have most of his powers as well as some additional powers, and but he would have different weaknesses because, you see, the usual weakness for Superman is kryptonite. And, you know, I thought it would be a lot more interesting if instead of relying on some extraterrestrial element to weaken him, it would be more like, you know, he would be weakened by elements that are found on Earth because it's a foreign environment and foreign elements can have different effects, but not that much. I was just going to make it so that, you know how Superman is usually powered by solar energy? Well, I was going to make it so that Superman, you know, my version of Superman that I am, is weakened by lunar energy, you know, because it's the opposite of solar energy. You know, I was going to make it so that he's, you know, and don't get me wrong, Superman, you know, my version of Superman is still going to have invulnerability, you know, against most substances except for lunar energy, dark energy, and cold energy. Yes, my version of Superman actually gets cold from low temperatures, which I know it also means that he can't travel through space because it's a cold vacuum, so there won't be any interstellar travel for my Superman. And before you decide to say that that's super boring, well, I was actually going to make my version of Superman travel to different universes and enact in them, because that's kind of my fantasy, is being able to travel across, you know, different places that have these cool narratives that are extraordinary and, you know, not as boring as this world where nothing happens besides governments trying to rape your mind and rape everything that belongs to you, you know? Third video, this path kind of reminds me of a dream I had, you know, similar to the one that I actually described on a different trail, if my mother would remember, a long time ago. One where I was 5 years old when I had the dream, and, you know, I was traveling with the cast from Land Before Time, you know, which even to this day, I still like that show. You know, and it's not just because of nostalgia. Well, it might mostly be because of nostalgia, but, you know, I just liked how that show was. And I think I might just be describing nostalgia, even though I said that it was mostly and not all, but it had a different feeling to it, you know? Even as I remember back then, when I first ever watched Land Before Time, it just had a feeling that I can't describe. You know, basically the complete opposite of how these spider webs are making me feel. I'm trying to think about what to talk about next. You know, I'm always talking about things to myself in my own head. Why now, of all times, am I suddenly starting to draw a blank? Maybe it's because it's so hard, you know, to be able to speak out loud about what I'm thinking. I could always just go deeper into some of the shows that I'm watching, you know, because I guess that's the merit of this life. Being able to explore nature and explore alternative worlds through a screen. But there was this one show that involves someone who died and was reincarnated into a different world with all of their memories. Is that they learned, and they learned magic and also swordsmanship at the same time from both of their parents. And it's very funny because you see both of the parents in the show, they both have similar features. It's like, are these two brother and sisters doing some shit together? But is that because they did have a child? But anyway, they learned is that the child was basically considered a prodigy because of his memories of his past life. And I guess I should mention that when he died, he reincarnated into a fantasy world, one that has the magic and the swords and dragons. There are dragons there. Love the dragons. Depends on what kind of dragons, though, my favorite kind of dragon from Dungeons and Dragons was I liked the golden dragons. They're always searching for information. I feel like I'd actually be able to talk to one of them, share them all my knowledge of the world that I came from, tell them that, oh yeah, it sucked. There was, for the most part anyway, there was lots of cool nature places, but other than that, there was just these, tall steel structures that were just reflective, all of these gray concrete sidewalks gray concrete side streets. I would have to call them side streets because they don't know what a sidewalk is. And then all of these, or I guess road would be more potent. Gray side roads, and then the middle roads were, just tar with these yellow lines that strode through them. And it was incredibly awful. I cannot tell you how much I am discouraged from going outside because of the nature of these cities. Makes me feel out in the open, and not to mention all of the mechanical entities called cars that are out, that, someone might be drinking alcohol and then suddenly run me over, and it might not be lethal enough to give me the sweet release that I've been searching for. I can see the canals from here. I'll start recording again when I can think of something to talk about.